got baby face, me big boss man. Me like America, me got good plan. Mexico water, make Gulf US survey. Me make Zelensky say thanks to my face. Me got baby face, me got big chair. Trump bad, Trump good, me no care. Me write big book, kill billies and stuff. Now me important, we're tired tough. Me go Yale school, me learn big word. Now me forget everything me heard. Silicon people give me job, me take. Now me like Trump, me make no mistake. Yo, it's JD Advance. Fight, walk, folk, me say never die. Me protect kids, me born liberal. Him, them, there. America simple, only two gender. Me face, me big boss man. Me like America, me got good plan. Mexico water, make Gulf US survey. Me make Zelensky say thanks to my face. Too many gender for my agenda. Went on a bender, executive sender. Might take Panama just like na. Might take Gaza, pop then a plaza. Witness my majesty.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome in to CobraCast 199. Emo Otaku says, I really hate this intro. I don't know if you're trolling me or if you really mean it. If you're trolling me, we don't replay it. If you really mean it, we have to replay it. I think you're trolling. You've been watching long enough. You're probably trolling. I'm not going to fall for your tricks. Hello, everybody. Welcome into CobraCast 199. I am your host, Jeremy Prime Mage, IDOT of Unit 199. Happy to see all of you here on a Tuesday. A lot to cover and only a little time to cover it. So we might as well jump into it. First and foremost, hello to the chat. Hello to Phil McCracken, IDOT 5 gifted memberships. Let's freaking go. McCara says, Emo, he can't blame you for trying. Samsung says, I hate videos of Sydney Sweeney in a bikini. Samsung, you already know how to get those videos. I might have a new one to show. Just saying. But anyway, let's see. Olympian Product for 5 says, Mick Foley says he quit WWE because he was offended by Trump's post about Rob Reiner. Gonna talk about that. Absolutely gonna talk about that. Hunter becomes a new member. Thank you. Jeremy from Alabama for $1. Thank you. Let me see. Mandy F says, I definitely hate it though. We'll see. Let's see. He really meant it, Jeremy. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. He really meant it. But he was fine with Vince as his boss. Yes, Mick Foley. Listen, man, I'm never going to take anything away from Mick Foley. Legendary professional wrestler. He is the hardcore legend. The man put his body through things that few other people in the industry have. I have a lot of respect for Mick Foley. But I have a lot more respect for President Trump. And I will take President Trump every day, every single day, and twice on Sunday over Mick Foley, who's proven to be an emotional little bitch. That's essentially what it adds up to. It's pathetic. It's pathetic virtue signaling. But hey, whatever. The Rock and Sock connection, absolutely. I mean, seriously. You go look back, go watch Hell in the Cell with Mick Foley and Undertaker. It's just unbelievable, man. It really is. It is truly incredible. Doesn't Cena have TDS too? I don't know if I've ever heard Cena talk about Trump. I would assume that Cena does, but I've never heard him talk about Trump, which is a smart move by Cena. I would rather not know any of these weirdos' political opinions, but I would, if I was a betting man and I had to put money on it, I would put money on that Cena absolutely hates Trump. Nandy with 5 gifted memberships. Let's freaking go. Thank you, Nandy. Hail to you. Samurai says, has Trump given up on the wall? I don't know what the latest on the wall is. I mean, ultimately, we have no, basically immigration is dead. Illegal immigration is dead. Now, we've got a ton of people that are still in this country, but in terms of people crossing the border illegally, that's pretty much been put to a stop. I don't know how much a lot of the wall has been built. I don't know where we're at on it. I haven't heard any updates in a long time on that. But Gold Nugget says, was going to edit Jeremy face onto Sweeney meme. No. I mean, I wouldn't hate it. But look, we got stuff to talk about. The big news of the day right now is that Donald Trump's chief of staff, Susie Wiles, did an interview. It was like, I guess it was a Vanity Fair or New York Times or something like that. And she said a lot of things that, according to her, she's being taken out of context. We're going to talk about all of that. We're going to talk about that after we get Samsung's proper 199. And he says, have it your way, you dirty grifter. Look at that. You got to respect that. And I respect that so much that I'm going to show all of you a brand new interview from Sydney Sweeney that I think will make everyone in the chat happy. This will make everyone happy, I think.
Yeah. Thank you. You look gorgeous.
Thank you.
What are you wearing tonight?
I'm wearing custom Galia Lahav.
Little Marilyn Monroe, huh?
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
So did you read the books before, during, or after?
I read before.
Yeah.
I did.
So what drew you to this?
I mean, it was juicy. It was delicious. I could not put the book down. I remember I opened it, and when you're like, I'm going to open this, read a couple chapters, and then go do something else. I did not move from my seat the moment I opened it until I finished. It was so good. The characters, the twists, the turns, all of it. So I knew I really wanted to be a part of this.
So did you sign up for 2 and 3 when you signed up for 1? I mean, you won, right?
Of course, we want to be able to give people what they want. I mean, this is such an amazing, community of book lovers, and we would love to do another film.
So have you spoken to Amanda about the next Mamma Mia movie, and are you going to be in it?
I, of course, have spoken to
so how did you pitch it? How did you pitch yourself to Amanda?
Well, I mean, it's more of, I'm just the biggest fan as well as, half this entire world. And I was like, even if I am just, your assistant, I don't even have to be on camera.
I don't know when she starts talking, and I don't care. Okay?
I want to be there.
You need to be on camera.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just be there. I just want to be a part of it. It's amazing.
Do you have a favorite ABBA song?
Have you ever gone to the ABBA experience in London?
No, tell me about it.
It's the greatest thing in my entire life. I took my entire team and my mom, and you basically have dinner. It's this giant dinner party, and everybody is singing and dancing, and they're performing all around you, and you get to stand up and you're waving all the handkerchief. It's the greatest experience. You have to go check it out.
And last question, did you expect to be married off in Euphoria? That was revealed. My
publicist is shaking her head. I can't say anything.
We gotta take a cast photo.
Great job. Yeah, that was good. That was a good interview. Very, very, very educational. And I learned a lot. With that interview. And I'm sure a lot of you did as well. Okay, let me try to get back on track. Susie Wiles, chief of staff for President Trump, says his erratic behavior boils down to having an alcoholic's personality. Now, President Trump does not drink. He's never drank. He's never smoked. He's never done drugs. So you hear this interview like this, and My question is, so Susie Wiles has responded to this basically saying that they took her out of context, that they completely manipulated the interview, yada, yada, yada. And my question is why did you even do an interview with a left-wing outlet? The article published early this morning is disingenuously framed hit piece on me and the finest president, White House staff, and cabinet in history. Significant context was disregarded. Much of what I and others said about the team and the president was left out of the story. I assume after reading it that this was done to paint an overwhelming, chaotic, and negative narrative about the president and our team. Again, why are you doing an interview with an obvious outlet that hates you and has a history of doing this stuff? That's what I don't understand. All right. But with that said, it is being widely addressed by everyone. JD Vance, JD Advanced, was asked about it today while he was live. And this was JD Vance's response right here. Here we go. JD Advanced.
Mr. Vice President, Jacob Bogage from the Washington Post. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Same to you.
Unfortunately, I have to ask a bit of an off-topic question from affordability because news events do intervene. And that is the interviews that White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles gave to Vanity Fair, in which she's quoted as referring to you as, excuse me, and again, not my words, sir, but a conspiracy theorist of a decade, and described your transformation from someone who once opposed President Trump to now his vice president as an act of political expediency.
Now, to give further context on that, these are some of the kind of the points that were taken away from this interview that, again, she claims is out of context. I don't know. I guess I don't know how all of this is out of context, but it is the mainstream media, so that doesn't surprise me. But again, I go back to, why are you even talking to a publication that has a history of doing this type of stuff to President Trump? And right here, so White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles had a lot of things to say about MAGA, according to Vanity Fair. Trump has an alcoholic's personality. Vance has been a conspiracy theorist for a decade. Bondi has completely whiffed on the Epstein files. Hey! I mean, she's not wrong. She's not wrong there, okay? Elon is an avowed ketamine user. Ketamine, I don't know how you say it. So that's the context to what they're asking JD Advanced about right now.
I'd like to give you the chance to respond to that, sir.
Well, first of all, if Susie, I'll trust what you said. I haven't looked at the article. I of course have heard about it. But conspiracy theorist, sometimes I am a conspiracy theorist, but I only believe in the conspiracy theories that are true. Yeah. And by the way, Susie and I have joked in private and in public about that for a long time. For example, I believed in the crazy conspiracy theory back in 2020 that it was stupid to mask 3-year-olds at the height of the COVID pandemic, that we should actually let them develop some language skills. You know, I believed in this crazy conspiracy theory that the media and the government were covering up the fact that Joe Biden was clearly unable to do the job.
Let's go! JD Advanced. Learned big word. That's right. Me learned big word.
And I believed in the conspiracy theory that Joe Biden was trying to throw his political opponents in jail rather than win an argument against his political opponents. So, at least on some of these conspiracy theories, it turns out that a conspiracy theory is just something that was true 6 months before the media admitted it. And that's my understanding.
Well said, sir.
Now, look, I do want to say something about Susie, though, because, again, having not read this article, Susie is a person I've come to know very, very well. And, you know, a lot of you probably ask yourself, what is it like behind the scenes? What's going on actually behind the scenes of the Trump administration? And I'll tell you, the president is exactly in private who he is in public. Like, I'll tell you a little story. Actually a week or so ago, I walk into the Oval Office and Marco and I are sitting there talking with the president about something. He says, stop. And he looks at our shoes and says, you guys have terrible shoes. So he goes and gets a shoe catalog. And remember, this is the Christmas.
That's the most Trump thing ever, dude. What the fuck?
Actually a week or so ago, I walk into the Oval Office and Marco and I are sitting there talking with the president about something. He says, stop. And he looks at our shoes and says, you guys have terrible shoes. So he goes and gets a shoe catalog. And remember, this is the Christmas season, so the president's got some holiday cheer. He goes and gets a shoe catalog and gets his favorite shoes and orders like 4 pairs of shoes for me and 4 pairs of shoes for Marco, because he's like, you know, we need our vice president or secretary of state to look their very best. And, you know, then we went back to talking about whatever major, you know, international issue we were talking about. Again, he is exactly in private who he is in public. That's not true of most people in Washington, D.C. It's not. And I've seen so many people who will say one thing to the president's face, Democrats and Republicans, and then will do the exact opposite behind the scenes. You know why you know what they are, and you know why I really love Susie Wiles? Because Susie is who she is in the president's presence. She's the same exact person when the president isn't around. I've never seen Susie Wiles say something to the president and then go and counteract him or subvert his will behind the scenes. And that's what you want in a staffer. Because as much as I love Susie, the American people didn't elect any staffer. They elected the president of the United States. And what you want in a staffer is a person who understands they are there to effectuate the will of the American people, and they're there to follow the orders of the duly elected commander-in-chief of the United States. And Susie Wiles, we have our disagreements. We agree on much more than we disagree, but I've never seen her be disloyal to the president of the United States, and that makes her the best White House chief of staff that I think the president could ask for. And the last thing I'll say is, if any of us have learned a lesson from that Vanity Fair article, I hope that the lesson is we should be giving fewer interviews to mainstream media outlets.
Yes.
So,
yes. Dude, JD Vance is so freaking good. JD, I keep wanting to say JD Advanced. JD Vance is so freaking good. That is the perfect answer.
And the last thing I'll say is, if any of us have learned a lesson from that Vanity Fair article, I hope that the lesson is we should be giving fewer interviews to mainstream media outlets. So with that lesson internalized, I'm going to stop taking questions and just leave you with one final note. And again, it's just a note of gratitude. This is the coolest job I've ever had. Agree with us or disagree with us, I'm sure that every single person in this room made something happen to get me to this job. You went out there and voted. Maybe you persuaded one of your relatives to vote. Maybe even volunteered or knocked on doors or made phone calls for us. I will never forget that my job every single day is to make it so that you guys can have a safe and prosperous.
Well said from JD Advanced. He absolutely crushed it. Massive
Vice President
dub
Jacob Bogan
from JD Advanced. You'll love to see it. Clutch City Fan for 20 says, from yesterday, I strongly disagree with Trump's post, but I get where he's coming from. I believe Reiner would have been celebrating if it would have been deleted, if he would have been deleted last year. Merry Christmas, Snake Pit. Happy Jessica. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much on the same page with you. So yeah, I believe Reiner would have been celebrating if something would have happened to Trump. And so yeah, I get where he's coming from as well. I kind of addressed all of that in the when I reacted to the Piers Morgan clip of them pretending to be offended over it. But thank you, Clutch City Fan. I appreciate you, brother. Laughing Hafren for 20 says, hey, man, I hope you're having a blessed day going. Let's see. to have now my Muay Thai sparring class. So that's going to be fun. I've been enjoying the Battlefield update. Hopefully you'll join soon. God bless and the chat. Have a good session, sparring class. Laughing Halfren, I appreciate it, man. Keep us posted and be safe out there, brother. Merry Christmas to you. Packet Proton says Haley Atwell is hotter than Sydney Sweeney, especially in the face department. Change my mind. I mean, you can't go wrong with either. Nader's channel says the only word I hear her say was juicy. Udite says Trump's chief of staff is Dolores Umbridge. I didn't realize until I saw that picture. Golden Nugget says after getting judo slammed, landing on my neck and out of action for 5 weeks, now I respect wrestlers a lot more. Those guys go through a hell of a lot, at least back in the day. Red Walker says I just want to I just want to JD debate again. See JD debate again? Is that what you mean? Clutch City fan with 5 gifted memberships. Thank you, Clutch City fan. Hail to you. Okay, so we do have more to discuss. As a matter of fact, this just dropped tonight. President Trump is giving an address to America. Tomorrow night. So tomorrow night, President Trump is giving an address to America tomorrow night, live from the White House. I wonder what it's going to be. I look forward to seeing you then. It's been a great year for our country, and the best is yet to come. I thought that originally tomorrow night. Okay, so it was tomorrow. I thought it said tonight. So tomorrow night, he's going to address the nation. We'll see what he's going to say. Will be interesting. So I'll probably be covering that. So just be on the lookout. Jess says, I'm so happy it's not tonight. Yeah, well, I think Trump knew that it was Tuesday night's main event tonight, and he's like, I don't want to stream over Tuesday night's main event. I'm like, I appreciate that, Trump. So he actually texts me. He says, hey, bro, what's up? I said, hey, bro, what's up? He said, hey, bro, I was going to stream tonight, but I know you got Tuesday night's main event, so I'm going to do it tomorrow night. I was like, all right, cool, man. No problem. So, yeah, that's how we talk, though. Yeah, we call each other bro. It's cool, you know? So, anyway, we shall see. I can believe that. Yeah, I mean, just I'm not bragging about it. I'm just letting you know that's just what happened. But check this out. It's official. A bombshell memo was just dispatched to Congress, finding that the Biden FBI did not find probable cause to raid Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate, but prosecutors did it anyway. Consequences are needed. This is an unprecedented miscarriage of justice. Now, again, let's go back to before the 2024 election. Let's go back. What did I say over and over again? If Trump doesn't win, it doesn't matter. So all of the clown DeSantis supporters out there, if Trump didn't win, then it didn't matter. Because we had to right the wrongs of 2020 and accountability for all of the shit that we've seen. So now that this information has, been put out there, hopefully, eventually, I'm hoping we'll see some type of prosecutions. I mean, I don't know. It does feel weird that we're this far into the Trump presidency and we still haven't seen any major arrests or prosecutions. I think that's a valid criticism of the Trump administration right now. People need to be held accountable for this. What they did to President Trump and Mar-a-Lago is unforgivable, what they did. So, but it's out there. We'll see what happens. But at least the truth is finally being exposed. The truth that we all were aware of, by the way. We got this right here. New York Post says Secretary of State Marco Rubio says he will not seek presidency in 2028 if Vice President J.D. Vance enters the Republican race. I cannot believe how much Marco Rubio has changed. I can't believe it. It really is incredible. The dude like has gone from little Marco to, just the most respectable person in the entire cabinet. It's amazing. It really is. So respect to Marco Rubio. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. And I'm pretty sure JD Advanced is going to run. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what's going to happen in 2028. Vance Rubio seems like a perfect ticket. It seems like these guys are on the same page. They get along very well. Yeah, so I am looking forward to seeing what happens there. So, but yeah, I like that lineup. That's a damn good lineup right there. Let's see where we're at. Joe Bit says thoughts on the new M. Bison specifically. I mean, I haven't looked too far into it. I've seen that actor in many things. He was in The Dark Knight. He's been in a lot of different movies. So haven't really thought too much about it specifically, but it looks like good. Everything in that movie looks like it works perfectly. I haven't thought about that specifically, but I loved the trailer for Street Fighter. I think it looks awesome. So, but specifically, I haven't looked that far into it with that particular character. Ryan says, just recently got my Uncle IDOT shirt that I ordered in June just to laugh at how bad Teespring is. Hail the 199. Yeah, man. I'm so sorry. I'm glad you guys are finally getting some of that stuff. But yeah, Teespring is terrible. They really are terrible. CG says, you're right. Rubio is without a doubt the biggest surprise in the administration. Mad props. Absolutely. Unquestionably. He has been a grand slam. Really, really happy at how he's been. He has just been, I remember how much I criticized him when he was announced, and he has proven me wrong every step of the way. Every step of the way. We also got good news, ladies and gentlemen. The left, their worst nightmare is here. Because Elon Musk begins funding Republicans for the 2026 midterms. He recently gave large checks to help Republicans emerge victorious in 2026 congressional contest and indicated that he will shell out even more funding amid the election cycle, two sources told Axios. He's back, all right? We lost Elon for a little while. Elon, a genius, a weirdo, and I say that with love. And he was, talking about he was going to create the America Party or whatever, but that backfired quickly. Ultimately, you can't go out. You just can't go up against President Trump. You just can't do it. It's not going to help you. All right. So he's back. And now we got to focus on 2026 midterms. If Trump can win the 2026 midterms, it will be huge. It will be absolutely huge. Trump said it best. Yes, he did. Trump said it best. What did he said? 80% genius, 20% he's got some problems. Was that what Trump said? How do I look that up now? And then Elon agreed with it. Trump, Elon, was it 80% genius? I think that's what he said. Let's see here if I can find it. The Twitter search isn't the greatest thing in the world. It's okay. But looking to see. Guess I have to type one more. Let's see. Yeah, Twitter search is kind of, here it is right here. Got it. Here we go. President Trump on Elon Musk. I liked him. I always liked him. He's got, 80% super genius, and then 20% he's got some problems. And when he works out the 20%, he'll be great.
Well, I don't think he has a choice. So what's he going to do? He's going to go with the radical left lunatics. They're lunatics. I don't think he has a choice. He's a man of common sense. He's a good man. He got off the reservation incorrectly.
He got off the reservation,
and that's okay because it's just one of those things. But he's a good person. He's got 80% super genius, and then 20% he's got some problems. And when he works out the 20%, he'll be great. But he's got some difficulty. But I liked him. I always like him. I like him now. But he went off the reservation, and he wished he didn't do it.
Okay, so somebody's like, you trust Grok? I don't use Grok. Have you ever seen me use Grok as a fucking source? I look directly for the source. I don't use Grok. I've never used Grok on this show. Like, I might laugh at Grok. I don't use Grok. I'm not one of those retards who's like, Grok, is this true? You're a fucking idiot if you use Grok. I've never used that. And Elon responded and says, a fair assessment. So Elon responds. So good. Jeremy uses Mossad search engine. Thank you. Okay. We have our own search engine with Mossad. All right. That's part of the $7,000 check. I get the $7,000 check and they look at my internet activity. And I was searching some pictures of Anna Paulina Luna, and they were like, what are you doing? I was just doing some research. And they were like, not through our search engine. I'm like, sorry. So they're pretty tough on you about that. Tony for 5 says, thanks for your help regarding my band channel yesterday. The channel's gone forever, which means I am now more determined than ever. Hail the 199. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, man. Did you haven't gotten any information on it? Because, I mean, I think there's probably, again, I don't know your channel. I don't know the specifics of it, but there's usually a chance to get things turned around. But yeah, man, but either way, use it as motivation. I'm sorry to hear that, man. The AI system with YouTube right now is very scary with their AI moderation. So I worry about that. Every day I wake up thinking my channel's going to be gone every single day. Just because you just never know what the AI is going to do. A quick update on the situation with Rob Reiner and his son. Obviously, most of you know Rob Reiner and his wife were murdered reportedly by their own son who had mental health issues. Now we're starting to get information, more information that apparently they had a big fight at the Conan O'Brien show or something to that nature. Trying to find it right now. Which is it's starting to sound really weird. So right here, new reporting from TMZ says that Nick Reiner allegedly killed his parents late Saturday night or early Sunday morning after attending the Conan O'Brien party. Around 4 a.m., Nick checked into a nearby hotel where he reportedly left the room with blood visible. So we've got this right here.
32-year-old Nick Reiner is locked in jail without bail, suspected of murdering his parents. Iconic filmmaker Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle were found dead Sunday inside their Los Angeles home, and we're learning new details about the hours leading up to their deaths. Sources say Saturday, Rob Reiner and his son Nick got into an argument at Conan O'Brien's holiday party. Nick was seen there acting strangely. Sunday, law enforcement sources say the couple's daughter found them with fatal stab wounds. Reiner's friends, comedian Billy Crystal and Larry David, came to the house soon after, police closing down the neighborhood to investigate.
They worked throughout the night on this case and were able to take into custody Nick Reiner, a suspect in this case. He was subsequently booked for murder.
Sources say police located him late Sunday near USC, where he was arrested. At the Reiners' home on Monday, Trevor Tofahima tells me he used to work security for the family. He says Nick was living on the property.
You could tell he had like some problems with drug addiction. If Nick is the suspect, I would never have thought that he would have done this to his parents.
Nick Reiner had been open about battling drug addiction since he was a teenager. In 2016, he worked with his dad on the movie Being Charlie, which was based largely on Nick's struggles with drug addiction. At the time, Rob and Nick sat down with ABC News to discuss the film.
What we wanted to show is that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you have money, you don't have money, if you're, have advantages, don't. These problems can affect anybody.
If you keep doing drugs, you won't stay privileged for long. You end up, roughing it out.
And that security guard that I spoke with who worked with Rob and Michelle talked openly and on about their kindness, their generosity, how they were so loving and they were well loved by their entire neighborhood. We're now expecting Nick Reiner to be formally charged today. George.
So this whole situation is pretty crazy right now. And I have never done a drug. I have never smoked a cigarette, and I've never drank alcohol. I know nothing about it directly. I have had plenty of family members that have dealt with these problems a lot. I've seen it in my life a lot, with firsthand family members, but personally, I have not experienced it because I watched it, harm a lot of strong people in my life. And I hate to say it like this, but I learned from their mistakes because I looked at their behavior and I looked at their actions and the things that they did. And I said to myself, why would you do that to yourself? Why would you do that? And so I've always been I don't like any type of thing that influences my decision-making outside of me doing that. I'm not a big fan of medication in general. I try to stay away from as much as I can. Recently I just had, some melanoma spots removed on my back, and the doctors gave me, medication, and I took one pill, and then the rest of the time I just didn't. I just dealt with the uncomfortableness and the pain, because if I can deal with it, I just don't like medication in my body, because it just, I don't know. I don't like being reliant on shit, if that makes sense. With that said, Gary was talking about this the other day, and I saw his video talking about it. And obviously Gary has dealt with, addiction a lot. And I want to listen to a little bit of what Gary has to say, because there's not a better person to talk about it in this sphere than Gary right here.
He has famously had a history of addiction problems, homelessness. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is not the first time. It's not the first time Hollywood's heard this story. As a matter of fact, the actor who played Tarzan and Doc Savage, his son killed his mom just a few years ago. But it's like, I can't tell you how many times I've heard this story in meetings. I mean, it's not just.
Dorothy says, instead of raising his child, he tried to monetize his addiction. That's kind of what it seems like. Making a film about your son's drug problems is weird.
Just a couple of times. It's countless. Now, they didn't all end up in murder, but sons, daughters, attacking their parents who are suffering from addiction happens more than you want to know. It's everything about it is horrific. I'm not going to make a ton of judgments about their kid. I'm just going to say I saw interviews with him last night, and boy didn't look right. Let's just be real. Beyond addiction, that boy didn't look right. But addiction is evil. And while and I've talked about this before, it is a disease. It is a mental brain disease, but it's a disease that requires a conscious decision. So
I like how Gary put it like that, because like for me, like I've often said, and people get upset with me when I say this, when I say I don't believe in addiction. That is me saying that I don't believe I can be addicted to something, because I make the conscious choice to not do things that I have seen destroy other people's lives. It's not that I'm saying that other people aren't addicted to things, or, you know, maybe I'm addicted to super chats, you know, but my point being is that when I say I don't believe in it, I'm not saying I don't believe in other people are going through it. Because like I said, I've had a ton of family members, direct family members, that have dealt with this shit, and it took them a long time to get over it, get past it. I've seen it completely destroy other family members' lives, to an extent that I will not get into on the internet here, but I have seen some fucked up shit because they can't control this stuff. But I like how Gary put that.
it's not something that any addict can say, well, it wasn't me, it was the disease. It's still you. It's still you. The disease portion is right up there with like OCD. It's some people can drink a half a beer and leave it at the bar and walk away and not even think about it. That's a person who's not an addict. An addict will drink that beer, ask you if you're going to finish your, and then think about that next one constantly. It's an obsession. But often, more than often, 100% of the time, alcohol and drugs are but a symptom of a much larger problem. Much larger problem. What that problem is with the kid, don't know. Not going to get into it. I know there's certainly stuff going around online, but there's absolutely no proof. Absolutely no proof of that. I've heard this story a lot, but point I'm getting to is while you're high and just in the thralls of addiction, it's not just high. I mean, we're talking strung out, probably been high 30 days in a row. You know, an addict is capable of doing insane shit that if they were sober the next day, they would be horrified. They would be horrified. Now, does that separate them from their behavior while they're high? No. You're still like aware. I'm still aware of what I'm doing, completely aware. But what it does is it lowers inhibitions, it destroys judgment. And think of addiction is, you know, that's why vampires are really good for addiction, like a good analogy for it. Addiction.
This is such a good point that Gary makes. This is why I wanted to, you know, because again, it's important to hear directly from someone that has been through it and that can articulate it from a firsthand standpoint. And nobody's better than Gary from that perspective.
Constantly having to feed. You wake up in the morning, you need to feed. You need drugs. That's the priority of your day. You can't go to work unless you're high. You can't go to a freaking movie with your kid unless you're high. Like nothing happens unless you're high. You have to feed, and the beast must be fed all the time, and that takes the priority. And then it leads to, you know, of course, your judgment's bad. You're not sleeping. You're high all the time. Your brain's fucked, and it leads you to do insanely evil things sometimes. And I'm just guessing there might have been a lot of resentment, nepo baby, rich kid, tons of privilege. But the problem is, and I was discussing this with another person who's famous last night, and that person's like, I would never raise my kids in Hollywood. And if you really think about it, this person said, I can't say exactly, but like
someone said, you know, vampires aren't real. Excuse me? Vampires aren't real? Would you like me to introduce you to a vampire? Anne Hathaway, ladies and gentlemen. Vampires exist. Anne Hathaway is a vampire, okay? She doesn't age. She just doesn't age. It's crazy. It makes no sense. There you have it, okay?
they made a conscious decision, like, there's no way in hell I'm going to raise my kids in Beverly Hills. That must be like the worst place to grow up. And if, you think about, well, you're rich. But yeah, it warps your children. Look, how many well-adjusted kids come out of Hollywood? Period. It's a very, very small percentage. That town eats children. Metaphorically.
Metaphorically. And this is an important thing you have to look at. So I always talk about that it's not 100%, but I think it's very, statistically speaking, I think this is a very, very good way to look at who a person is at their core. Again, it's not 100%, but it's pretty damn good indicator. How is this person's kids? How does this person's kids respond to them? How do they respond in general? And Donald Trump's children, who grew up billionaires, who grew up famous, who grew up wanting nothing, have all turned out to be exceptional by any standard. That tells you who he was as a father and as a man right there. All of his kids have turned out. And kids of divorced parents, correct, Dragon Dan. And look how they all turned out. Just saying. How many Hollywood kids turned out to be effed up, druggies, all over the place, making bad decisions?
But it eats children, and I wouldn't raise your kids around there. And this is a very wise, famous person who said, nope. As a matter of fact, I'm not even going to be in that effing state. And it's like, smart move. And by all accounts, really good, normal kids. Rob Reiner was a great director. Like, that guy had a run in the 80s.
100%.
That was, if Steven Spielberg wasn't around, it would be, they would call it a Reiner run instead of a Spielbergian run. It was pretty incredible. His diversity of talent and, politically, like, which everybody's going to bring up. I've never agreed with the guy, like, ever. And he's always been like that. He's always been your classical Hollywood liberal, right? Loved his dad too, Carl Reiner. And he's a Nepo baby too. Was. Yeah, watching that and what happened on Bondi Beach, grim day. No other words. What's going to be more grim is the reaction. So we saw the reaction to Charlie Kirk's murder, and I'm already starting to say, not as much. Believe me, not as much. But I am seeing a couple people like are a kid riddance and fuck him. And it's like you could be. Ryan talked about it earlier. You could be indifferent. Indifference is fine. Celebration is inhuman. Addiction isn't a disease. That's ridiculous. It actually is, but again, it requires some explanation because it's a mental disease. Okay, so what people rush to is like, and I have to constantly explain this, but I have no problem doing it, is when they hear addiction's disease, it's like, oh, you're not taking any responsibility for your problems. That's not the kind of disease. It's not like cancer. All right.
Yeah, if you listen to how Gary explained it makes perfect sense. So as long as you acknowledge that it takes the action of the individual, I agree with that. Absolutely.
So it's a disease, but we're not calling it a disease like cancer. Something you don't have any choice in. It is a disease that requires a conscious decision. Then you are still fully responsible for all of your behavior. Mm-hmm. But it's a disease. It's a mental disease. It's like OCD, obsessive compulsive. It's a brain chemistry thing. Bro, I fucking wish I could just, fucking spark a joint and not think about it or drink half a beer. But here's the sense it's a disease, my brother. if I went out and just said, fuck it, one night, I like alcohol, for instance. Never been a big fan of alcohol. The only time I ever got drunk is as a backup to get high. Like if I ran out of drugs and I had nothing else, I just got some booze. But if I'm like, hey, fuck it, I don't like alcohol that much. I'll just drink this one night. There is 100% chance I will be knee deep in blow with my wife hunting me down to kill me in Vegas. All of my money will be spent and I will be looking for meth and heroin within a week. That ain't normal. So when
I'm laughing because he's my friend and it's funny as shit. Like there's what he said, it was so funny.
When I relapsed hard, there's a thing called, it's not only a disease, it's a progressive disease. And what is a progressive disease? No, not the disease of progressivism. That's a different thing. It's a progressive disease. So the addiction continues to grow even if you are sober. And you're going, what the hell are you talking about? What are you talking about, crazy man? The addiction progresses as if you were still doing drugs, even if you're sober. What do I mean? Okay. I jumped back into it after years and years of being sober. And within a very short amount of time, under a week, remember, haven't done any speed at this point for, God, I was sober longer than I got now. We're talking like 15 years. So I went from doing a little bump about this big. Within a week, I'm doing rails this big. Enough to kill a fucking horse. That's the progressiveness. It caught right back up to where it left off. Not as it left off, but if it kept going that whole 15 years. It's a progressive disease. But if you don't want to believe it's a disease, that's fine. It's no skin off my back.
Yeah, I mean, what Gary's saying 100%, because to me, again, I say I don't believe in addiction because I don't. Because I just don't. I believe that I will make conscious decisions to keep me out of any situation. So seeing very, 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 very respectable and strong men in my family fall to alcohol and drug addiction, makes me go, I will not make that conscious decision. I will keep myself out of that. I try to keep myself out of any situation I can't control. And as long as I do that, then I feel good about it. I'm never going to. But I have seen it destroy people. And so Gary's perspective is far better than someone like mine, because he's been there.
I mean, I can't tell you how many times, and like this is just part of life. I've accepted it, and it's like, really, this is said with no judgment, but like, why don't you just quit? Why don't you just stop? You're not tough enough. You lack the mental fortitude. Maybe, but it's different for addicts, and they don't get a ton of sympathy. They really don't. And you know what? The behavior, they don't really deserve any. That's the thing, is you can whine and moan about being an addict all you want in the meetings and all that. It's like, we don't deserve sympathy. Or why do we deserve sympathy? Maybe from our moms and dads, but from like the world, from the general public, well, look at how we're acting, like, come on. But you want to encourage people to recover. That's the part you want to encourage. If you are so inclined. But people don't understand addicts. It's like, it's not their fucking job. It's our job to get sober. For the rest of my fucking life, I'm going to hear, because I'm open about it. I mean, I'm here. I'm a felon and meth head. And it's like, yep, I definitely was, for sure. You can't expect everybody to understand, and especially, and you work through that in recovery. Believe me, when you're doing your amends, and you'll try to call somebody or write them a letter, and they just tell you to fuck off. in the most eloquent ways. And you go, yeah, I should fuck off. Yep. I deserve that. But Rob Reiner did not deserve that. I don't care. I agree with Chrissy. Having to preface this with, I don't like his I don't expect many people to like his politics. He's a fucking Hollywood liberal, or was. But at least he showed sympathy towards Charlie Kirk's death and did not celebrate it. Actually did quite the opposite and told people.
And that's what I kept bringing up too is, Rob Reiner was a nut job, plain and simple. I think he was beyond a Hollywood liberal in a lot of his ways. And again, the dude had checked himself into a facility after Trump won the 2024 election. Like, that's on record. Look it up. I showed you the article yesterday. Rob Reiner had to put himself into a mental facility after the 2024 election. Crazy. Absolute lunatic. But the way he handled the Charlie Kirk assassination was respectable.
And condemn people who were celebrating it. So that, I mean, that's the kind of decent person you want. You don't have to, agree with people's fucking politics. We don't want to be like them. I don't want to be like them anyway.
So there you have Gary with, I thought, very good points about the whole situation because, he's got a perspective that, I don't have, that a lot of people can probably relate to or understand, which I think is important here. I mean, look, we don't know exactly what happened. All we can do is take things as the information rolls in. And right now, it's an ugly, ugly situation, to say the least. 2 people are dead. A kid reportedly murdered his parents. That's a really bad situation, man. And I guess we'll find out more as time goes on. But in the latest episode of How Do I Make This About Me, Big Mike Obama appears on Jimmy Kimmel and said that she and Barack Hussein Obama planned to meet with the director and his wife the night they were killed.
We've known them for many, many years, and we were supposed to be seeing them that night, last night. And we got the news. And let me just say this, unlike some people, Rob and Michelle Reiner are some of the most decent, courageous people you ever want to know. They are not deranged or crazed. What they have always been are passionate people in a time when there's not a lot of courage going on. They were the kind of people who were ready to put their actions behind what they cared about. And they cared about their family, and they cared about this country, and they cared about fairness and equity. And that is the truth. I do know them. We've known them.
So there you have it. How do I make this about me? I saw someone in the comments. Hang on. I don't know if I can find it now. Somebody in the comments said, D-Day Cobra, Trump made this about him. Yeah, it's what Trump does. Is anybody surprised? Of course Trump made it about him. It's literally what he does. He does that unapologetically. No one's surprised by that because Trump doesn't get up on stage and spew a bunch of politically correct bullshit and make you think he's a good guy. Trump just says whatever the fuck he wants. He doesn't care. He doesn't care about your feelings. And yeah, none of us are surprised that Trump made this about him. That's the least surprising thing. Good Lord, man. Like, again, I played this. Right here. This is not surprising, okay? This is what Trump said at Charlie Kirk's memorial.
Missionary with a noble spirit and a great, great purpose. He did not hate his opponents. He wanted the best for them. That's where I disagreed with Charlie. I hate my opponent, and I don't want the best for them. I'm sorry. I am sorry, Erica. But now Erica can talk to me and the whole group, and maybe they can convince me that that's not right, but I can't stand my opponent. Charlie's angry. Looking down, he's angry at me now.
Yeah, that's Trump. That's Trump. That's who he is. It's not surprising. So no, Trump making this about him is the least surprising thing in the world. And of course, Trump was asked about the backlash that he faced, and Trump did what Trump does.
A number of Republicans have denounced your statement on Truth Social after the murder of Rob Reiner. Do you stand by that post?
Well, I wasn't a fan of his at all. He was a deranged person as far as Trump is concerned. He said he liked.
He refers to himself in the third person. Who does that? As far as Trump is concerned.
A deranged person as far as Trump is concerned. He said he knew it was false. In fact, it's the exact opposite, that I was a friend of Russia, controlled by Russia. You know, it was the Russia hoax. He was one of the people behind it. I think he hurt himself in career-wise. He became like a deranged person, Trump derangement syndrome. So I was not a fan of Rob Reiner at all in any way, shape, or form. I thought he was very bad for our country. Yeah.
Just doesn't give a shit, dude. That is peak don't give a fuck right there, man. That's glorious. Holy crap. I got tears in my eyes, man. Good stuff. Let me get a few of these super chats. We got Magnum North says GD Jeremy with these snakes on a plane. Do you remember that movie? There was this movie and there were snakes on a plane. You guys remember that? What was that movie called? That's a joke. Tuesday night's main event joke. Graham Robbins says, as a recovering fentanyl junkie, 9 months sober, I can say 100% the money affects your recovery. We cannot afford a swanky inpatient clinic on a beach. Us poor folks tied to the bed and try not to die. Is that for real? That's crazy, man. I don't know if there's sarcasm in there or not. I don't. The fentanyl stuff is crazy, man. So, but Air Force One, yeah, that's called Air Force One. But if that's legit, I hope you're good. No, it's real. Well, prayers up for you, man. I hope you get everything situated. I don't know anything about fentanyl or anything like that. The only thing I know about fentanyl is, you know, there's a guy who's been sober for several years now that was famous off of it, but that's all I know. Madam North says, Jeremy is addicted to streaming, which is good for us. I'm happy that people I respect don't have to deal with going to jail with random strangers. Am I addicted to streaming? Because yeah, I am. Magnum North says, hilarious, Gary. When I'm drunk, I'm looking for cocaine like Obama gun show in Mexico. Magna Norris for 20 says, RIP to Rob Reiner and his wife. We didn't see eye to eye on politics, but I respect what you did for pop culture, and I hope that you both rest in peace. I also hope that we find the culprit and bring them to justice. Yeah, I mean, look, he's made some really iconic movies. You know, what's crazy is you just don't know what anybody's going through. And I do feel like projection is a huge thing in this world. And like, do you guys, this one flew under the radar, but let me, first of all, let me pull up his filmography first. Okay. Because I'm going to make a controversial statement. Okay. I don't know how many of you are going to agree with me, but, let's clear that. Let's leave this one up right here. Okay. So in my opinion, Ridley Scott is the second best director in his family. Because I believe Tony Scott is the better director. Tony Scott killed himself in 2012. Are you aware of this? Tony Scott took his own life in 2012. We don't even talk about this much. Tony Scott gave us Man on Fire, one of my favorite movies of all time. Man on Fire, one of the greatest movies, in my opinion, Denzel Washington's best movie. Okay? The Last Boy Scout, Days of Thunder, Beverly Hills Cop 2, Top Gun, Crimson Tide, Enemy of the State, Spy Game, Domino, Deja Vu. Unstoppable is fantastic, by the way. But Tony Scott took his own life. You never know what people are going through. But I'll take him over Ridley. I will. Because of Man on Fire and Crimson Tide alone. And then you add Top Gun, you add The Last Boy Scout. If you haven't seen The Last Boy Scout, fucking movie is awesome. I haven't seen it in a long time. I probably want to rewatch that. Beverly Hills Cop 2 is a generational movie. But yeah, man, he was great. He was great. But the point being is that you just don't know, man. You never know what people are going through. You never know. Robin Williams is another one that he, it's crazy that Robin Williams took his own life. Linkin Park lead singer, Chester Bennington. Is that right? Is that his name? Chester Bennington? Phil Hartman. He had a lot of things going. The Phil Hartman situation was crazy. Yeah, Bennington. Okay, I was right about that. Chris Cornell. It's wild, man. Big L to not even mention True Romance. True Romance was on the list too. I was just scamming through. I missed a couple of them. But time will tell if we get any answers on the Rob Reiner story. But it is awful. It is truly awful. Let's see here. Grindo Drum says Grok said Ben is more masculine than Jeremy. Fig. Packy Proton says make sure to download all of your channels weekly, then you'll have a backup. That's what Rumble's for. That's what Rumble's for. I'm not leaving Rumble. I know I got mad at them. Not leaving Locals. I got mad at them too. The Anne Heche, I think that's how you say her name, is the wildest one. Have you ever, I can't show it here. Have you ever seen that video of Anne Heche where her, like they have her after, like, what am I remember? She had a car crash, right? She had a car crash. And then they have this, the news cameras were overhead in the helicopter. They had her on the stretcher trying to load her up, and she sets up like the fucking Undertaker. It's fucking wild. It's crazy. General Duelli says, I stopped watching on Rumble and canceled my Locals membership. RIP. Yeah, I fucked that one up. I probably need to offer a bunch of free memberships to get you guys back over there. I fucked that one up. Yeah, she was in a body bag and she set up like the Undertaker. It was wild. Dark Metal Spider says, hey, Jeremy, are you still going to watch part 2 of The Lady Screaming at the Cops? We watched part 1 last night. Not right now, we won't, but I will on a future CobraCast because I still got Tuesday Night Main Event tonight, so I got to get ready for that. ACC says, how is Reiner's death by TDS if his son offed himself? Well, the theory is that, and again, I can only speculate what Trump meant by this. The theory would be that Rob Reiner was so lost in his Trump derangement syndrome, which is pure hatred and evil, that evil and hatred that preoccupied him made him lose sight of his family, while his own son was struggling with demons, Rob Reiner was too busy being lost in his TDS to worry about focusing on his family. That would be the theory behind it. And let's see. Andrew says, if you have time to check out Democrats smurfing Jim Hoft, the Gateway Pundit, December 2025 article on massive Democrat money laundering. Merry Christmas. Eric K., can you look that up, or Jess, and see if we can put that one in the DM group? I'll check it out later for sure. ACC says, I'm addicted to Sweeney's juicy boobs. Can't get enough. That's a good problem to have. ACC says, Hathaway is a vampire and she sucked my blood. There you go. Bearded Llama says, sent you Candace's account of what happened last night. Hail the 199 Army. I don't know if this is what you sent me because I already had a bookmark. But so we're supposed to get a Candace Owens response today as to what happened. But I think we already have some information on that. So I'll show you that really quickly. So we're supposed to get more information, but right here we have this. So apparently this is Candace Owens, right here. Okay. Here's what happened with her and Erica Kirk.
I know all you guys want to know what happened during my meeting with Erica. So here it goes. We met in Nashville because I didn't want to fly anywhere and have my plane shut down by Israel. So I told her to come here instead. She gets here, and first thing she does is she gives me some homemade cookies. And I'm like, bitch, I ain't eating those poison chocolate chip cookies. She tried to poison me. Anyway, I'm still alive after almost dying from the poisoned Israeli cookies, and we start talking. Then you're not going to believe what happened next. The waiter asks us if we want something to drink, but he's wearing the Star of David. So I'm like, I ain't about to drink no poisons lemonade from you, you Mossad agent. So anyway, I almost die again from Israeli lemonade poisoning. And Erica is like, I'll just have some water, please, which is obviously code for you better kill this bitch right now. Am I right? So we talk and we talk. And she tells me I'm acting crazy or whatever. So I asked her to show me pictures of her of when she was younger. And she's like, why? So I'm like, oh my God, she doesn't have any. So I just discovered she's actually a man. And I'm now talking to this man who is probably an Israeli spy sent here to kill me. So I get up. I go to the bathroom, I dig a hole under the shitter like El Chapo, and I finally made it back to tell you guys the story and get paid millions by YouTube to keep you guys stupid and against Trump and Turning Point, because I'm just a piece of shit like that. Anyway, thank you for your views, retards.
Now, okay, you guys are like, oh, Jeremy, oh man, that's AI. Man, you guys... I'm glad there's a reason you guys watch Candace. You can't get anything past you guys. So, fine. You got me. It was AI. So I will now show you the real version. This is Candace after a meeting with Erica for 4.5 hours. Here we go.
Hey, everyone. I've had some time to think things through and have changed my mind on certain topics. For one, I am now certain that Charlie Kirk had actually passed away from natural causes. Also, can I just say, I love the French, love them, French fries. Charlie loved French fries too. He wouldn't stop talking about them on our trip to Tel Aviv. Lovely place, by the way.
All right, so there's the real Candace Owens after the meeting, ladies and gentlemen. So there you have it. Magna Norris says she's also a psychopath. Oh, what is this? So we've got a clip from Megyn Kelly. Says she stayed quiet on Candace Owens and Erica Kirk because she's been working behind the scenes to facilitate the meeting. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, there are way too many women involved in this elaborate scheme.
My viewers have been wondering why I haven't said anything, given my previous statements about Erica. And the reason is that I have been working behind the scenes to try to foster a
This is not AI, by the way. This is like a legit clip.
détente between them. Erica called me weeks ago and asked me if I would be part of this sit down with them, which originally they had contemplated might be for consumption by the public.
Let's go! Man, we needed this live stream. We needed this live stream.
Air in some way, shape, or form, and asked if I would facilitate that meeting between the two of them. And I said yes immediately. Of course I would. I reached out to Candace. She said, absolutely. I'm thrilled it's you. I'm in. And the two of them took it from there, trying to negotiate the specifics of what they'd both be comfortable with, where, when, etc. And eventually it changed after they hit some roadblocks. Again, that's for someone else to tell you about if they so choose. I understand my core audience knows who I am and would never have assumed the worst about me, that I was just abandoning Erica or getting ready to pounce on Candace and, insert myself into this on one side. I'm not getting ready to do that. And I don't want that. I don't think that's God's role for me here. I really fully believe God's role for me here is to possibly play a role in getting this whole thing to a better place. I think I might be in a position to help construct that. Maybe not. But sitting here in my studio in Connecticut, just slinging mud at one side or the other, or tearing people down, or, expressing my disgust, my outrage, that is pointless here. My goal and my job here, I think, is to try to understand, yes, where Candace is coming from on this. I know you're not supposed to say it, you're supposed to just immediately condemn her. But I love the turning point, guys, and I don't believe for 1 second any of them had anything to do with Charlie's murder.
In other words, I'm going to sit on the fence. That's 100% what she's doing.
Not for 1 second do I believe that. So people who care about Candace and love Erica have been in a tough position as this whole thing has escalated, and care about Turning Point, which I deeply do. And I will make sure that their legacy is not destroyed. And I will do everything within my power to help them thrive, including supporting my own kids in forming a Turning Point chapter and going out to AmFest and helping headline that event and encouraging everyone I know within the conservative movement to go and support them and to donate.
Way too many women involved in this story, man. Holy shit. What a crazy situation. And it's just getting worse and worse by the minute. So I don't know. Let's see. What is this right here? Go back to that in a minute. But yeah, man, what a disaster. Complete and total disaster. Jesus says, all hail Cobra Commander Jeremy and King Trump. ACC says, Gary worked in retail. Jeremy had a comic shop. Trump also made it about him by blaming TDS. Yes, Trump made it about him. He always does. Lying dog face pony soldier with the gifted membership. ACC says, dude, ACC, I don't know what you're typing, but like every super chat has been like really jumbled up. I appreciate it, okay? But bro, what the hell is this typing? Like, what are we doing? I'm already retarded, all right? You're making it more difficult for me. Thank you. I appreciate it. Magnor says, hey, Jeremy, Trump said something the other day. AC says, Jeremy, why did Sam... How did you spell Samuel? I look at the... New phone, who dis? Look at him. He just says, I gotta fit in all the characters, bro. I'm poor. I respect it. But TJ says, Robin Williams' death hurts me to this day severely. A lot of people feel that way too. Mad Frog says, on the censored Snakes on a Plane, they censored 2 mother effers. I have had it with these Mother effing snakes on this Monday to Friday plane. I censored that one too. ACC says you don't put a condom unless you're gonna fuck. Gene Hackman in Crimson Tide. Very tense scene with the Russian submarine arming its missiles. Some of the best acting you will ever see. Gene Hackman, Denzel Washington, Crimson Tide. That is seriously, it may be the single greatest acting between two actors in any movie, especially when they are arguing over, dropping, releasing, or the code. The code comes in and they can't determine if they're going to, release the nukes or whatever. It's incredible. Dracon says, I'm not convinced that Anne Heche is actually gone. Maybe witness protection. Not the first time they faked celeb death for such. I don't know. You never know. Just a dude on the phone says, make sure to ask Phil about clowns tonight on Tuesday night's main event. He'll know what you mean. Scared about that. Olympian Products says, no way they replace Candace with Cash's girlfriend. All right, so we're gonna call it there. We got Tuesday night's main event tonight. Looks like we have a lot going on. Trump is going to address the nation tomorrow, so I'll probably be covering that. I know we have the gaming stream, but I'll cover Trump addressing the nation, and then I can hop over to the gaming stream after that. But I do appreciate all of you for hanging out with us. Been a fun stream as always. So thank you so much for all of the support. Jess says, okay, I could finish the article now. Thank you for all you do for GG, Jess, and all of the mods, the best mods in the business, the best chat in the business. I'll see you guys for Tuesday's main event. Have a good evening, and we will talk to all of you later. Bye, everyone.